LeBron James all the way in.
And here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that.
Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the quick steps and crunches.
Play right there. Porzingis from Jennings, throw down and a foul.
Irving, splits the defense with the dribble.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, and guys, we got to talk about it. But before we talk about the Lavar Ball and how much of a genius I think he is, I got to give a quick shout out to Kyle Kuzma, who had a career high in points in this game for his NBA career. He had 38 points, I believe 7 rebounds and 4 assists or something like that. Let me quickly check. I have it captioned here real quick. Yes, so 38 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Like I said, congrats, Kyle Kuzma. Great game. But we're not here to talk about Kyle Kuzma. We're here to talk about a teammate, his teammate, Lonzo Ball's dad, and that is Lavar Ball. And if you guys don't know, Lavar Ball shared a statement with Slam, and I'm just going to read it out quickly. And here's what it says. We have officially launched our own pro basketball league called the Junior Basketball Association, sponsored by the Big Baller brand, BBB. The JBA is the very first junior pro basketball league of its kind. The JBA will cater to the top-ranked high school basketball prospects in America. All nationally ranked high school seniors whose goal is to remain the reach of the NBA will be offered as an opportunity to join the JBA, turning pro straight out of high school and bypassing the usual college pit stop. The participating players will be paid up to $10,000 per month as they prepare to enter in the draft the following year. The JBA league is for basketball players who intend to pursue the sport professionally. With the introduction of the JBA allowing NCAA to regulate and control eligibility status of top basketball prospects will no longer be an issue. There is no need to partake in an institution that claims its purpose is not to help you prepare for your professional career. The recent statement from the president of the NCAA, Mark Emmert, when commenting on the recent withdrawal of LiAngelo Ball from UCLA sums it up. It is part of someone being part of your university as a pro student athlete, or is it just using college athletics to prepare yourself to be a pro? If it's the latter, you shouldn't be there in the first place. And we agree. For decades, the NCAA has run a business that has exploited thousands of teens, while college institutions, coaches, media conglomerates, and corporation sponsors have all profited from this model. The JBA is a long-awaited solution on this ongoing problem. Stay tuned for more information in the coming weeks. Guys, we just have to admit it. This is very genius. And the reason why I'm going to tell you is genius, not because it's the first of its kind, it is the first of its kind, and that's the reason why. So if you guys don't know, the G League was supposed to be this. So the NBA partnered with Gatorade, and they had a sponsorship deal where it's like you can join the G League when you're 18, but you have to be drafted. So basically, you have to wait a little bit before you get drafted by an NBA team. You have to go by 1 year of college. But the G League, what they wanted to do eventually was to go into the high school where they could just go from high school to G League, and that's what they wanted to do. But unfortunately, it hasn't worked out that way. But fortunately for Lavar Ball, he has beaten them to the punch by making sure that he is the first of his kind to have this league set up. And, I'm not sure how much the NBA would have paid him. I'm sure the NBA would have paid a lot more, but they'd have to deal with a lot more headaches. But with this, Lavar Ball up to $10,000, sponsored by BBB, this is a genius move. I'm sure my co-host Peter would agree with you 150% that this is a genius move. And this, to me, in my opinion, is his most genius move. I think it's bigger than what happened with Lonzo. I think it's bigger than what happened with LaMelo. I think it's bigger than what happened with LiAngelo sending them to Lithuania, right? I think that's where they went. It's smarter than that, because what this does is it puts him in this, and I think it's bigger. I think it's way bigger than Big Baller brand itself, because if this league is able to be very successful, which I think it can be, it's going to be the first of its kind, and eventually, the NBA could potentially buy up that league for the G League to have. So in the end, he's going to be making a lot of money because he was smart and realized, okay, we need to act on this right away, because I'm pretty sure the NBA eventually will do this. So, congrats to Lavar, man. This is huge. And I just really want to quickly touch before we continue on this discussion about Lavar Ball and the JBA League. I just want to quickly touch on the NCAA stuff. Being a former employee of of a national college program at the University of Utah. It was a good experience in some ways. I mean, I got to see what it was like to be a student athlete for, not in the perspective of a student athlete, but a perspective of someone that's in there every day, but not a student athlete or a coach. I think the reason why the NCAA gets a lot of flack is because, to me, honestly, they load those kids up with so much stuff to do. It's basically working a 40-hour job without getting paid for. And I'm tired of hearing the excuse about the education stuff, because there are some instances where it does help players, and I get that. But some of those players aren't, especially the top highly, really gifted players, they're not there for education. They're there to play football, to play basketball, to play soccer, whatever sport they play. They're there to play that sport because they're really good at it, and that's what they want to do, going forward. Whether it works out or not is up to them and how much they're willing to put in the time and effort to get better or to hone their skills. So to me, I don't think it's fair to say, oh, you're getting paid your education, when in most realities, some of those guys don't really go there for the education, or they don't want the education. They want there to play ball, but they're being restricted by these limits and not getting paid for it. When I was doing my research, because I did a research paper on this, the term, they coined it as collegiate athlete back in, when the NCAA first formed, so that they could avoid this technicality of paying the players. So really, not paying players all stemmed from just basically calling them student athletes, because you want them to kind of have that idea of they're a student first, then an athlete, which, in some cases it's good because it does kind of promote kind of the education, that sometimes people won't get, and they get opportunities. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I think it's more so for basketball because it's more of like a one and done type of deal, but for football, it's 3 years. But, some of these, like I said, some of these guys don't want to go there for the education, and you have to respect that. I think it's kind of the same way I look as a scientist, for example. So let's say you're a scientist or a mathematician. You come up with a new equation. You come up with a thing, or a chemical or some sort of thing that helps beat cancer or some sort of illness, or you come up with a math equation that a lot of people thought could never be solved. Those guys' ideas, and their they get recognized for that, and they get paid for that. It's not like the university goes and be like, you know what, you were on our property when you came up with that idea, or you were on our property when this happened. We're going to take your idea. It's kind of like what, I can't remember what college Mark Zuckerberg went to. I think it was either Harvard or something like that. He went to an Ivy League school. It's not like they decided, hey, since you came up with the idea of Facebook, I know it's not really him that came up with it, but he eventually took it. It's not like he came up with the idea and Harvard or wherever he went to said, you know what, since you made it on our property or used it with our stuff, we're just going to take it. It doesn't work like that. And I think that's kind of the same reason with sports. And like I've been saying before when I did my research paper on it, this all could have been avoided if the guy that came up with the term the term student athlete didn't call it student athlete, because obviously these guys were going to get paid. And I think they could have gotten paid too. I'm sure, boosters would have loved to pay these guys. I mean, there is some dirty tactics to it. And I think you get rid of the dirtiness of the tactics of paying players by just letting them get paid. I mean, $10,000 isn't a lot, obviously, in terms of, it's enough in some areas, but not enough in other areas to live. But really, this, it's a good amount of money to what I think they deserve to get paid, especially the one and done guys, because if they're really good and they're really dedicated to the sport, they'll be able to go on and make millions in the NBA or, professionally overseas. I mean, that's the thing with this JBA league. This league isn't just to prepare you for the NBA. Obviously, not all these players that are nationally ranked are going to make it to the NBA. The lower guys will probably have to go to Europe, which obviously, it's not bad money. They make money as well. So this is where I think Lavar Ball is a genius once again. This dude just knows how to sell and how to make everything right. And that's kind of like the reason why I get upset with people just kind of criticizing him by saying like, oh, this isn't going to work. It's going to fail. when in reality, I think it could do really well. And the NBA was thinking about doing this themselves eventually with the G League. So LaVar Ball beat them to the punch. And I think if players, it depends on what players go. I mean, if we see, obviously his sons are going to go. I think that's obviously the number one thing. But if we see, well, especially LaMelo, not LiAngelo, because he's already graduated and he's like in the collegiate level area. But I mean, we could see if we get some of these top recruits coming in, like Zion, Bobo. I mean, if we get some of those guys to come to the JBA, I mean, could we not see this league very well successful and LaVar Ball potentially getting bought out by the G League saying, hey, we'd like to buy the JBA and, kind of combine it with the G League so we can create our own, so we can do this ourselves. So then I think LaVar Ball would be like, high up with the NBA officials. I mean, this is a genius move. I mean, a lot of people are going to question where the money comes from. I don't know. But as long as he's able to support it, as long as he's able to do it, I think it's fine. The only thing that's going to suck, though, and I'm sorry, LaVar, I have to call you out on it, is the Baller Brand shoes. I know it's sponsored by the BBB, and you're going to give them the Baller Brand shoes. Let's try and make a better looking shoe and a shoe that a lot of kids are excited to wear. I understand, you're trying to promote your stuff, but let's make sure the shoe looks good. I saw some reviews. Some people didn't like it. I haven't bought a pair myself. A little bit out of my price range right now, but let's make a very more exciting shoe. That's all I can say about that. And that's like to me, that's the only negative of this JBA league is we're just wearing the Baller Brand shoes. But everything else about it is genius. It's a genius move. And LaVar, if you're watching this, I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but props to you, man. This is a very good move. And I'm glad that a lot of people are seeing that this is going to work. A lot of the haters are going to say it's not. And to them, they're like, oh, the NCAA is going to live on forever. The NCAA is going to do this. I mean, I'm not saying that the NCAA is going to die by this, but it definitely will incentivize the NCAA to change their policies about the term student athlete. Because in reality, they're not really students. They're really just guys getting, having to do the work 40 hours a week, early lifting session, then class, then, practice, and then, late night film session. There's a lot of stuff you have to do, and there's little time for, 18, 19-year-olds, especially in basketball. There's not a lot of time for them to do anything. And I think that's the thing that really sucks about this is that there's not a lot of time for them to do, some activities that they like to do. I mean, obviously, they'll make time for it. But I think if you want them to perform at their highest peak, you have to kind of take the model of the European route, and that is making it a club thing where it's basketball or the sport first, and then you do school. I think that'll be a system that we could potentially see in America at some point. Not sure when. I'm sure a lot of people will be criticizing this video for it, but I think the European system for soccer, or football as it's known across the pond, that works. That system works because it develops really good players. It got guys like, if you guys know them, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi. I mean, that's the reason why you send them to the camps, because obviously these guys have the skill to be one of the best players in the world. Let's say like LeBron James, for example. If he would have went to obviously he went from high school to the NBA, so it doesn't really matter here, but let's say he was in a club from his, when he was a fifth grader all the way to now, he would have very refined skills and his skills would be set. And I think that's what I want to see from the future of the NBA. I want to see those club-like mentalities, because what it does is it allows guys to get better at certain areas, so we don't see these kind of AAU-like things where it's like they can only drive, slash, and then just shoot. They need to be well-versed in all skills, and I wish that we would take that model from the European system in soccer, and I think they also do it in basketball as well, because I think that's what's going to refine players to being an all-around great player, not just athletic, but also has the finesse and the technique to finish and to do other stuff that, crafty European players are able to do, like Kristaps Porzingis or Dirk Nowitzki. I just think that's what we need to see. But, this video isn't about that. It's really about what LaVar Ball is doing for this new thing that they're doing with high school ranked players. I'm just going to be curious to see how they're going to determine who is going to be there with the ranked guys. I mean, obviously, you have Rivals, you have ESPN. I'll be curious to see what Lavar Ball will do in terms of, okay, what ranking system are we going to use in order to make sure that all the guys that we want there that are nationally ranked are going to be in our league. I'll also be curious to see if they will take, guys that aren't really ranked but could have potential. I mean, obviously it's a tryout type of situation like it would be in any other league, but I want to see what they do with that. But I think this is the right step in the right direction. Obviously, we'll probably see LaMelo here, as I think he's in that age group, and I think he can do well. Like I said, you could hate him for a multitude of reasons with LaVar Ball, whatever it is. But you can't knock the guy for being a guy that's very innovative, very genius. I mean, he's built his brand on your guys' hate. The more you talk about him, the more that he's going to be doing a lot better in areas that you think he was supposed to fail. I think this league could work out perfectly, not only for the baller brand itself, but for high school players that don't really want to focus on school. That's where I think we kind of get lost in it all. I mean, they're going to be making a lot of money, and it's not like they don't have the option to go to school. I mean, if they really are not cut out for the JBA, they can go to a college institution and they can study and, hone their craft in basketball, but also get a degree along with it. They're going to be making enough money to go to a decent community college. Sometimes they'll get scholarships based on what, their academic achievement or even their sport achievement. I think we're cutting these guys short by not providing the necessary monetary value for what they bring into the school. I mean, if we just look at Alabama's program, or even just a player that's, nationally known, let's say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back in the day when he was playing at UCLA, I'm sure a lot of people were wearing a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jersey. I mean, let's say he was in this NBA today, or in this high school or college atmosphere playing at UCLA, I'm sure there'd be a lot of jerseys. They would sell a lot of I can't remember what number he was, but they would sell a lot of his jerseys. There's no doubt about that. And just imagine, LeBron James going. I'm sure Ohio State or wherever he would go would sell a lot of jerseys. So it makes no sense to me why they can't just make money, or at least, kind of have it like the Olympic route where it's like they can advertise themselves. And it kind of sucks because that's what one former kicker, now YouTuber, Destroyer, I can't remember his channel. I'm sorry that this is kind of just, I was just thinking about it. I think his name is Donald. Donald De La Haye. That's a guy that did everything to get both, monetary value for his filming and the stuff that he did for when he was on the UCF Knights. And, it kind of sucks that you took away his dream of being both a YouTuber and a college athlete. His team went undefeated this season, and it sucks that he wasn't going to be a part of it because the NCAA decided, you can't make money off these videos. It's just so stupid. It makes no sense why these college athletes can't make money off their likeness. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not the American way, as opposed to, a startup tech company that started in a college. It's not like the college is taking their tech idea and making it their own. No, it makes no sense why you can't sell your likeness because you're really good at what you do with a basketball, with a football, with a soccer ball, or what you do with your feet or hands. I just think it doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm glad Lavar Ball is doing this because I want someone to go at the NCAA, because right now they're just a conglomerate. They're a multi-billion-dollar company with ad sponsors everywhere, yet these kids can't make a dime off their own likeness. It makes no goddamn sense to me, and it never will. And, the only thing I will say, though, is that the athletes do get a lot of gear, like free gear, which is a lot. But that's on the companies, because the companies like Nike, like Under Armour, like Adidas, they make that stuff expensive for these guys to even buy. So I'm glad that the schools at least give them that, because that just covers their clothes, so they don't have to like go to Walmart or any other place to just buy some cheap shorts. They have shorts that have school provided shorts. school provided t-shirts, school provided jackets, backpacks. I'm just glad they do that for them, but they have to, especially the players that are really good, they need to be able to make money off their likeness, or even players that are very popular in the area. I'm sure there's some guys when I went to Utah that are very popular in that area, like a Whittingham son or a Whittingham nephew or anything like that. Let them be able to make money off their likeness, because I think that's when we're going to see a kind of change in the shift in culture. And I'm kind of curious to see how these kids, if they do join the JBA, will they be able to make money off their likeness, and will companies start shifting towards the JBA like Adidas, like Nike, and start providing them gear for that league? I'll be very curious to see, and I hope that he does get the support, because I think this is probably his most genius move. I think this move is going to make the Big Baller brand a big billionaire company. I just think it's going to work, and I'm glad that Lavar Ball is doing it, and I'm glad that he's decided to help out the athlete, because I think his mind is in the right direction, because he does care about the kids. Whether you like to admit it or not, whether you like to say he's very intrusive, he's living through his kids, vicariously through his kids, you have to admit he does take care of his own kids, and he's looking to take care of other kids as well that are not trying to get abused by the NCAA corrupt system. But anyway, guys, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think about this? I want you guys to comment down below. Do you think this JBA is a good idea? Is it a bad idea? And will the Big Baller brand rise to the cream of the crop because of this or not? Let me know in the comments down below. But like I said, guys, this has been The Charge, where you get NBA news and rumors. And this is a very big news, and I'm glad that we're here to talk about it. Like I said, down below, talk about it. Anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie. I'll see you guys in the next episode of The Charge. Peace.